It's time for All Hands on Tech.
Climb on board as we explore all the amazing things happening in Nova Scotia's tech sector. Each episode, we'll chat with local experts to uncover the secrets of what makes Nova Scotia the best place for collaboration, innovation, and creativity.
All Hands on Tech is proudly produced by Digital Nova Scotia, the industry association for Nova Scotia's growing tech sector. Welcome to All Hands on Tech. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Derek. Today we're excited to introduce you to a solution that's revolutionizing the insurance industry. QuickFacts is a Halifax-based FinTech company changing the game for insurance brokers, making their lives easier and more productive.
In today's episode, we'll take a closer look at the innovative features and technology behind QuickFacts, how it streamlines underwriting comparisons, optimizes workflows, and simplifies training. QuickFacts is one of our newest members, so we're excited to have the company's co-founder, Jeff Barsalou, on the podcast today to learn more. Welcome.
All right, thanks. Happy to be here.
We're so happy to have you here. As I mentioned, you're one of our newest members, so welcome to Digital Nova Scotia as well.
Thank you. It's been wonderful so far.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Happy to hear that. For listeners who haven't heard of QuickFacts, I mean, you've been making a lot of headlines lately, which is amazing. But for folks who haven't heard about QuickFacts, can you just give us kind of a brief overview of the company and its history?
Sure. As the marketing head for the company, I'm happy you're seeing all the headlines because that is my job. So
yes, you're doing a job well done.
Thank you. I guess the best way to start is what a broker's life is like in insurance. So we operate in the what's called P&C, property and casualty. So we operate in the auto, the ATVs, recreational property type areas there for brokers. So what they do on a daily basis is they have to go into all of the carriers that they sell. So all the CAA, Aviva, Intact, all of them, they have to go and find the best coverage for you when you call in and ask them what, to get coverage, the best kind of coverage for you. So they have to go in and compare, find the best coverage for you, and that takes a long time. So they have to sift through hundreds and hundreds of pages of manuals right now, PDF manuals, find the information, then you do it again for the next carrier and compare across it. So what we do is we just make that really, really easy. We pull all of that information out, put it into our software, and it compares it across all kinds of different coverages. So if you said, I have an ATV and I paid $35,000 for it and it's a four-seater, who can I get coverage for this? That answer is more like, yes, okay, we could do this or this. Let me figure out which one's best, as opposed to, I'll call you back in a few days.
Which area do you serve? Because there's so many, your database is probably huge with so many insurance agencies and kind of individuals offering insurance policies.
Yeah, great question. So it is a lot of information to pull together. So we do go province by province. We started here in little old Atlantic, Canada with, we had 8 brokerages that we kind of kicked things off with. We tested a lot with them, and then we actually hired a development team, brought it in-house, and started developing our product for full scalable. So in September of 2022, we actually launched out to Ontario, and back in May, we launched to Alberta. And BC, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan are coming up. We got Saskatchewan, Manitoba, I believe, this month, and then BC before the end of December. So it's exciting. And then Quebec early next year.
I just have a question in terms of the history of the company. So what made you decide to go into this space? Was it because, a particular pain point you found yourself, or I'm just curious?
Great question. Yeah. That's a good place to start, really. Yeah. So let's start it off. So my co-founder, Christy, who is actually my life partner as well. So we met each other early on, actually, before we even started dating. And she had this idea. She's been a broker for 17 years. She worked reception and all the way up to director of operations for the First Atlantic, fully digital brokerage here in Canada, Cheap Insurance. So she worked there and had tested out this software in a non-scalable version with her brokerage. COVID hit. People went working from home, hybrid work. It was tough, a lot tougher for brokers to do what they do on a daily basis. They didn't have that support of their employees and managers right beside them. So she recognized that this is a tool that anybody could use, and all brokers really are desperate for. So we met early on and wanted to, she wanted some ideas of how to bring that to life. I'd worked for an agency and I had some developer connections, so I thought I'd take a look. And I looked at it and said, first thing I said was, "Oh, you are much smarter than me." That's what I said the first. And then I proceeded to connect her with a couple developers to kick things off. But after 9 months of that, we kept talking. And then she couldn't quite find the development firm to do it. So she was just going to hire somebody. But she's like, I know this insurance stuff. This is a great idea. It's going to take off, but I don't know the business side of it. How do I write a business plan? How do I do the financials? And I've got my MBA. I've been working in business development, marketing. I said, well, I can help you with that. So we kicked it off. We wrote a business plan, got a loan. She quit her job and got a hire right away and started building it out.
Now here you are, QuickFacts and together
Yeah.
in love. I love it. What a great story.
We actually got married end of July.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
What a wonderful story. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, we're going to dive more into the business in just a few minutes, but we just want to get to know you, Jeff, a little bit better.
Okay.
So we have some fun rapid fire questions prepared. I will let maybe Derek, why don't you start things off?
Awesome. So for the first one, would you rather have a 3D printer or a drone?
3D printer. And I think it's just because I've never actually used a 3D printer, and I really think it'd be really fun to use. I have used a drone before, and they are equally fun. But 3D printer, I think I could get really creative with it.
Well, if you want, we have one at DNS, so you should stop by our office and test it out.
Can we do it after this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, next question. Would you rather go to space or the deep sea?
Oh, deep sea.
Oh.
And so I worked Coast Guard actually for a bit, search and rescue. I was out on boats for years during my university days, and loved the sea. I love everything about it. I'd love to, except as long as the vessel is very safe. I would just put that caveat out there.
Fair. Both honestly terrify me.
Yeah.
Anyways, next
Okay,
one.
we'll do the next one. All right.
Yeah,
So what's your favorite coffee spot of choice?
Oh, my favorite coffee spot. Honestly, I make it all at home mostly right now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Smart though.
Yeah, it's an easy one.
Save a lot of money that way too.
Yeah. What do you drink at home?
I used to go to the Wired Monk a lot. Yeah, if I was downtown Halifax. Yeah.
Nice.
So Americanos, usually blonde.
Okay, last one, and we ask everyone this. What is your favorite thing about living and working in Nova Scotia?
Probably the people. Just, the community here is fantastic. I moved here, I think it's 13 years ago now, kind of losing track, from New Brunswick, and I have never left. I don't plan on leaving just because it's been such a amazing community, met a lot of people, a lot of friends, and the way of life here is very relaxed. Nova Scotia, you can go from the busy Halifax Centre to the Cape Breton Highlands up there and feel like you're in a completely different place just a few hours away.
Let's get into some of the questions that we've prepared for you. I'm curious, we spoke about the history a little bit already, but when did you officially launch QuickFacts, and how has your business grown since then?
So officially, Christy incorporated in 2017. She knew this idea was coming, but we officially launched it in November of 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was with Christy leaving her company, getting a little startup loan from Futurepreneur. So it started with her and me working evenings, weekends when I could. And then, she had a part-time hire, and we had luckily had a couple early adopter customers that we kind of worked through all of the, product with, made sure it was made it the best product possible, what we call like an MVP. And then from there, so almost 3 years ago now. Actually, it is 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Time flies. So we went from having just a couple brokerages and working on this Wix-based site to now we have a whole development team. We've got a team of 18 people working at QuickFacts right now. As I mentioned, we're all across Atlantic Canada, Ontario, and Alberta now. So we've got 57 brokerage customers, and we're creeping up on 1,000 active users. So that's active brokers here in Canada. And just going to keep growing, especially launching in new provinces.
That's incredible. How do you, from going from a team of 2 in 3 years to a team of 18, that's incredible growth. How does it feel kind of reflecting on that?
It's kind of surreal, to be honest with you. Yeah. We started and, someone gave us some really good advice early on. And it was as founders, you need to start finding those $20 an hour jobs and fire yourself. Find somebody else to do that so you can focus on the vision and the growth of the company. So that was really great. And it feels great to fire yourself from a job, by the way, within your own company. Let somebody else that's better at take it. But it feels pretty surreal to be at this size. We've had a lot of support along the way, Digital Nova Scotia being one of our great partners. Actually, we got our most recent hire. They saw us on Digital Nova Scotia. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Shout out to Elizabeth.
Yay. Thank you for checking out the job portal, and we're happy that we can help support.
Yeah,
so
that's been great.
Your product right now, you said you mainly work with brokerages. Like, do you ever plan on kind of expanding so that consumers can actually use it directly to use your database to be able to find their quotes and things like that and do a self-serve method?
It's an interesting concept. The problem with that is that the information that we're housing is confidential information from the insurance carriers. So really, it's supplied to the brokerages, the customers, or the public. The general public doesn't have access to that information. So unless something changed there, we would keep it within brokerages at that level. There might be a way to create something that the general public could ask questions, and we could provide some insight into certain aspects of the insurance brokerage world or different types of coverage. But that's something far down the road that we'll explore maybe.
Okay, can we talk about the tech a little bit? And you can tell me what you can tell me, but how exactly does QuickFacts help insurance brokers save up to 2 hours a day?
Yeah, great question. So they are spending, without us, they're spending hours a day just sifting through those manuals, kind of going through it. Generally what happens is they go through PDF by PDF, hundreds of pages, trying to read through it and then compare it to get the best quote. So one of two things happens. Either they try and remember it, and that's really tricky to do because those manuals are changing every few months, because carriers are getting more and more data, so they're adapting faster to any types of risks coming in, so they're making changes which brokerages have to know about as they change. They're either kind of going off the top of their head, or they're selling 3 or 4 carriers that they're familiar with. Meanwhile, there might be a better option out there. They just can't keep up with it. They just don't have the time to do it. So our software compiles it all into one spot, so they can easily get any of the documents, underwriting information, and coverage types. So you could be on the phone with somebody and they could answer the question for you right there and tell you what you're going to get, as opposed to I'll call you back in a few hours or a few days sometimes. What we do is we've got analytics on it right now, and it tracks the usage of the broker. So every broker that's on our software is interacting with it, pulling up different pages, documents, viewing things, getting the information that they need. And we assume that every event is a certain amount of minutes in time saved. So we calculate that all, and we aggregate it on a monthly basis across all of our brokerages, and we track it. So it was, we were on average across all of our users saving 45 minutes a day per person. And that has actually increased to 55 minutes a day per person as we've been adding a little bit more, getting more brokerages on there as well. But yes, we see some brokerages actually now saving up to 2.5 hours a day per person on average. So it's a massive time savings. Mm-hmm. And it's just been a software that's been really needed in the industry for a long time. We work really hard to make it really simple.
I know. That's the hard part, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're obviously doing a good job because you keep growing.
Awesome. So when we're looking at like traditional broker training, that can be very like time consuming, right? Like, and very resource intensive when someone's brand new to the industry. So how does actually QuickFacts like maybe streamline and simplify that training process for someone brand new for the industry, and maybe they're just out of school, got their first broker job? I'm assuming like, how does this kind of streamline them so that they can be more effective at their job right off the bat?
Yeah, great question. So, we've had brokerages that have hired people right out of school, and you're right, they're green. They don't know anything. So what they've been doing is sitting with managers or other brokers there and just asking them questions, constantly asking questions. As they get it, they ask questions. That's how they were learning, because they didn't have anywhere to go and actually grab the information that they needed. So now with QuickFacts, our brokerage owners and trainers are saying that it's reducing training time in half. So people can go in, instead of saying, okay, you've got solar panels now. All right, what questions do I need to ask for solar panels? What kind of coverage stuff? Okay, I'm going to ask Derek. Derek, come here, help me out with this. You spend 15 minutes helping me with that. You're off, the phone's not working, I'm not working, so it's taking both of our time up. Whereas with QuickFacts, they would just type in solar, open up the solar panel resource, and you can see all of the carriers that they write and what coverages they will, or what coverage they will offer on that. So it's really simple to get the answers that you need.
We've talked a lot about time saving here, so I want to maybe move over to the money side.
Ooh, okay.
So when we're looking at insurance, we all have to pay insurance, house, cars, rental, whatever the case is, right? Yeah. But obviously, you've been saving the brokerages a lot of time, but by having a software that aggregates all these all these kind of policies and whatnot, do you have any numbers on how much money you've saved customers actually by brokers using this?
I don't actually have any of those numbers, unfortunately. No,
okay.
No. So brokers and carriers alike are kind of in the same spot as most places right now, where there's a deficit of employees, so a deficit of brokers. So they're scrambling, and everybody's doing what they can to keep up, but we're not able to hire enough people for the industry. So what we're doing is we're giving time back to people so that they're just more efficient workers. So there's certain things that it would affect you on, I can say. So your broker, if they need to call the carrier, to call their underwriter and ask some kind of more complicated questions, they're waiting sometimes up to 3 hours, just sitting on hold waiting. So we're cutting that down by half, which is pretty huge. So you'll get answers back faster. I can't talk to the money side. Sorry. As soon as I do, I promise I'll let you know.
No worries. But in my head, at least, I feel like it would make sense what you said earlier. Brokers might only have access to maybe 3 or 4 policies that they would sell because those are the ones that they know well enough. But now they have this. They probably know at least, again, whatever's in your database, they in reality may be able to find
they might
something
be able to
that's
find
more
you better
suitable,
coverage.
right?
Yeah, better coverage and maybe cheaper. Yeah.
Okay, switching gears again a little, but not really. So AI, I mean, that's what we've been talking about, even on this podcast a lot, because it's been such a hot topic in tech. Absolutely. So what role does it play, or will it play, in the future of underwriting?
Yeah, so insurance has been using AI for risk mitigation for years. It's just more the generative AI that's kind of come to the forefront. So there's a couple different ways. One is in the claims management, the risk management and policy writing. That's more on the carrier side. Not as familiar with that, so I'll kind of maybe keep it with the brokerage one. But we just came from Vegas. There's ITC Vegas there, which is the biggest insurtech conference, I believe, in North America. And coming from there, AI was, every other session was talking about AI and generative AI and the opportunities there. So, it's being heavily funded right now, and it's really exciting. What we're seeing on our end for it is that training is actually a really good one. So you could take all that information that we're aggregating, and you could feed it in a confidential AI platform, and you could actually use it as a trainer for brokers. So they could kind of chat back and forth with it, interact with it a little bit. You can also, as I mentioned, we're pulling thousands of pages of information. So this can read through that in seconds and be able to pull out relevant information for you. So you can ask it questions and get the underwriting information. There is some risk you got to be careful with, because obviously insurance is a very regulated industry. So the information that's being spat back out has to be very accurate. So we're aware of that. We're working right now with NLP, natural language processing, in our software to make it more efficient. And down the road, we do foresee generative AI playing a bit of a bigger role with QuickFacts.
Is there any kind of main takeaway, just since you said you just came back from Vegas? Anything that you didn't already mention that was kind of interesting for you, or? Yeah,
I mean, there's been a lot of discussion about AI in general taking jobs away, but it was nice to hear in there that the majority of the conversation there was that AI is going to supplement jobs. It's going to make jobs easier and support workers. So that was very abundantly clear there. So that was great to hear. Yeah. But there again is a monumental amount of new startups that are being funded that are AI focused for insurance. So insurance has been maybe a bit of a laggard in the technology space just because of the nature of the industry. So it's really starting to catch up and catch on fire with all the technology updates now. So it's an exciting time for it, to be honest.
So for Gen AI, like obviously trust is like a really big conversation around it, right? Like, can we trust this? And even you mentioned earlier, accuracy of information can be an issue when using Gen AI. So I want to dive deeper into that. Like, what are some other risks that you kind of see if like we implement more Gen AI into things like underwriting?
I think the regulatory space is going to be really interesting in how that picks it up, because brokers are scrutinized pretty heavily on how much effort they put into finding you the right policy. If they don't do enough effort, don't give you enough advice, they are at risk there. So it's an interesting one where Gen AI, it's doing it all. It'll have logs, so you'd have to kind of go through the logs and see what's pulling up. But sometimes, it feeds off, it's got biases, it feeds off other bits of information. A funny little side story. I was dealing with a software that I use on a regular basis, and I was trying to find a solution to a problem. And I typed in some questions, and it was doing the chatbot thing back to me. And one of the potential answers it had a bunch of expletives in it, because people had been having the same problem and typing in swear words when they couldn't figure out what they were getting to. So the chatbot thought that was regular conversation and started spitting it back at me. So there's all kinds of different risks, especially in that phase when it's customer focused. And then if it is customer, public facing, your customers want to have that trust. As soon as they don't feel like they have that trust, you're going to lose them.
So exciting. QuickFacts was recently recognized at the Insurance Business Canada Award. So what does it mean to you to be recognized for this prestigious award?
Yeah, we're blown away. We've been helping brokers for quite a while now, and to be recognized like that is a huge honor on our part. So we're really excited.
Does it feel like surreal at all? And I don't mean, but you officially launched in 2020. So to me, it's still such a young company. I mean, it seems so exciting.
It is very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're really excited. So we share that internally, all those wins with the team. And when we announced that, we have a team meeting every Thursday, and where we all kind of get together and still share our wins and what's going on in the company. And it was it was elation, I guess, across the team meeting.
Well, congratulations from DNS to you, because that's pretty incredible. And I guess we did mention it off the top, but maybe now is a good time to always circle back to. So you recently expanded into Alberta. Your growth plans going forward?
Yeah.
Beyond that, yeah.
So Saskatchewan, Manitoba.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then BC.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So just get the Western Canada and then Quebec. So we've been having some great conversations with the associations in Quebec as well. And we just need to make the carrier connections. They've got some different carriers there. So it made more sense for us to go west, and then we'll jump into Quebec. And then our platform is multilingual, so we're able to house multiple languages in there, give the same experience with a very simple intuitive toggle to go from English to French across it. So that's going to be a process to build all of that out and develop that French side. But yeah, across Canada, that is surreal to think. To think that we're going to be in brokerages all across the country is pretty incredible.
That is well done.
Yeah.
Is it a very competitive space?
So what we're in is pretty niche, to be honest. So yeah, not overly. For the most part, brokers are, they might have Excel documents trying to compare things that similar to what we've done, or they've got shared drives or something like that. There's a couple other solutions out there, but we kind of tackle the problem in a very unique way that appeals to brokers. And then down in the U.S., which is why we were in Vegas exploring that, they've got a number of different solutions as well, but they seem to be having the same problem as well with brokers. And the underwriting information for brokerages doesn't seem to be something being tapped into too much right now.
Awesome. So I guess before we end off, we'd love to give you the floor a little bit here and tell us what's on the horizon for QuickFacts, really beyond your expansion and beyond like everything that you're doing right now.
It looks like your team is always kind of growing.
I was going to say, just keep building that team.
Yeah.
We've got a great roadmap to get to about 50 employees by the end of next year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we're looking to get into the U.S. We're also exploring the UK market because there's a lot of similarities there. So going internationally with QuickFacts.
Wow.
But yeah, growing the team, and then we are aiming towards being kind of a suite of products. So on the operations side, so we've got our underwriting comparisons. We've got workflows, which we recently launched, which is really exciting because that kind of ties all together. It's all the internal processes of a brokerage. Not overly exciting type stuff to chat about. Sales usually gets all the glory in this, but operations is kind of what makes a brokerage function. Any company really at the back end function smoothly, give that consistent client experience. So yeah, we plan on also tapping into the training and the learning side and having something to complement that and help bring that to life. So there's a lot of possibilities out there. We are very excited to keep diving into more and growing this company.
Well, we are excited to continue to see you succeed and grow, and right here in Nova Scotia, and obviously beyond our borders, you're going to be growing as well. So we're just super happy for you, and thank you so much for your time, because I know you're very busy. Off to New Brunswick this weekend, just came from Vegas, so really appreciate your time.
Oh, no, this was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to All Hands on Tech. Interested in learning more? Visit us on our website at www.digitalnovascotia.com. We'll see you next time.
This
has been
a Podstarter
production.